Well, Jim, let's stay on this topic of good funny and bad funny with this next question.
Good Lord. All right.
This question.
See, I had good questions that brought everybody up, funny stories, and then you get me all upset.
Well, this question's from Jacob, and he has two questions related to each other. He was watching WWF's Shotgun Saturday night and was wondering whose idea was it for the dumb captions under the names of wrestlers. And the other question, why did your name caption always say Cheese Boy?
Well, because at the time I was working in the office there, and everyone had come to find out about my predilection for extra cheese on everything, whether it be cheeseburgers or sandwiches or whatever the case. So I actually even have when one time we went to Green Bay and at the airport, I got a cheese hat and a cheese tie to wear to the production meeting, and still have that here in my office. Shotgun Saturday night, God, at first, the first description I heard was we're going to do something like an old Memphis studio show. And I'm like, holy shit, yeah. And then I found out only after they ran it through the warped New York version of what Memphis wrestling studio shows were. It was in fucking nightclubs at the first weeks with dancing girls. And it was supposed to be Shotgun Saturday night. At Vince liked it was Vince's title. Something in there conjures up to Vince a picture of, wow, dangerous stuff. Anything can happen. Shotgun Saturday night for live from New York City at midnight on Saturday night. Fuck, it was fucking miserable. Between whether it's midgets or guys dressed as nuns or fucking dancing girls or goddamn boobs being flashed or whatever the fuck, the Mexican midgets pulled my pants off and I ran out onto the street in 30 fucking degree weather for real and got locked out of the back door of the building in my fucking not long underwear, but boxer shorts. I was contractually obligated to take part. We had to go. And plus, every Saturday, my day off, because at that point I was in the office Monday through Friday. On my Saturday, on my day off, I had to leave at 1 o'clock from Stamford and spend until 2 o'clock in the morning in New York City, which would be like sending me to fucking state prison every week for fucking 10 hours, right? So, oh, God. What was the question?
Why did the caption say Cheese Boy, and who was responsible for the caption?
Oh, well, just everybody in production. They were encouraged to make it as irreverent and off the wall and, cutting edge as possible. And there was
one excellent episode, though. Do you remember
from San Antonio when
Yes.
Terry Funk showed up? Yes, and I wasn't at that one, motherfucker. I was not at that one because I was shooting the vignettes for the new Blackjacks out in I was the producer for that out in the woods somewhere in 40-degree weather while Terry Funk was on Shotgun. That was the only good one.
That was a dream episode because you have Terry Funk and Stone Cold going at it, but then you have Vince interviewing Terry Funk on live television, and Terry Funk goes, "Where's Jim Ross? That oaky asshole!" And you get to see Vince's face right next to him.
Yeah, and see now if you had performers like that were allowed to be performers like that, because Terry did it because he didn't care because he was going to get over, right? And eliminated the dancing girls and the silly graphics and the blah blah blah. You could have had a dangerous late night wrestling show, and it would have been fun. But there was only wrestling on that show from New York, at least, incidentally going on, while everybody else was worried about the vignettes and the fucking entertainment value and the gaga that nobody gave a fuck about. That's why the show only lasted fucking 8 weeks or whatever it was, and then they just started putting taped matches on it because the wrestling fans didn't want to see all that horse shit, and people who weren't wrestling fans weren't going to watch the wrestling just to see all that horse shit that they also didn't care about because it was wrestlers doing it. If they didn't care about wrestling, they didn't care about the horse shit the wrestlers did. Even in the boom periods, they always had to start caring about the wrestling. But in any period that's not a boom period, they've always got all the production people have to go, oh, well, we got to get the non-wrestling people watching, so let's give them non-wrestling. And that don't fucking work. And fucking morons like Russo couldn't figure it out, and still to this day, if you slapped him in the fucking head with it, and I highly encourage that, He can't get it.
It didn't have good television penetration either. In New York, which is where it was filmed and WWF's hotbed, it was on like WLNY, like some bullshit station. Now it's like part of CBS, but back then it was like the last station that aired Bowery Boy films in the middle of the day for no reason.
Well, yeah, well, and it was on at midnight on Saturday. So, any of the, and I, to be quite honest, OVW subsisted for 7 years, was a highly rated program Saturday night at 11 o'clock. But that was because we were tailoring to that specific market. You just put a canned wrestling show on at midnight on Saturday on an independent station in Portland, fucking Oregon, whether it's Shotgun Saturday Night or whatever, and it's not going to do that well. Especially when the matches sucked because it was a 14 by 14 foot ring to get them in all those goddamn strip clubs and houses of ill repute that they were fucking taping in. That's the day that Jake was 9 hours late. I told you that story, right?
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's working in the office too. And I was having to drive him around because he didn't have a license when we go to Vince's or whatever. So we're supposed to leave the office in the limo at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon to go down to downtown Manhattan to have the production meeting at whatever fucking bar this Shotgun Saturday Night's going to take place in. And Jake says, I'm going to catch her because the meeting's not till 3, but I heeled into the limo because I didn't want to drive my own car down there and have it fucking, vandalized while I was in the place.
Yeah.
So come to think of it, we had to leave at noon to be there at 1, but the meeting wasn't till 3. So Jake's going to come on his own. The 3 o'clock meeting, Jake ain't there. 4 o'clock, Jake ain't there. 5 o'clock, Jake ain't there. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, Jake ain't there. Finally, the show was going to go on live at midnight. And finally, at like 10:15, Jake comes in his store where he had been waiting for a cab in his hotel, and he went to sleep, and the front desk never called him to tell him the cab was there. We say you slept for 9 fucking hours. That was during that time, right? But so that didn't get over, and that was Jake's last week in the office, as I recall. But at any rate, yeah, Jake, I was envious of him because I'd had to sit there since 1 o'clock that day for a midnight show, and he got to come in at 10:15. I'd have switched places with him.